Okay, so I'm recording this before even considering uploading one that I previously recorded. This one where I went on a rant about people on the road. There's good reason for me to discuss that, and there's good reason to discuss what I'm about to discuss because, you know, it could help either people that are inexperienced or people that are just plain new. This is going to follow up on some of the tips that I gave previously, um, but, I feel like it's best for me to talk a little bit more. So, first thing, tires. Tires. Those things are expensive. And again, if you don't check the tire pressure, you're going to be screwed. Some instances happen where that's even if your tire pressure is fine, you're going to have some problems, a stray nail on the road or something else that pierces it, either because somebody was inconsiderate and dropped it or they were being malicious. But regardless, again, it can be expensive. There were two tires that I replaced. I think they went at around $360, which goes back to budgeting, which I've discussed at least a couple of times before. Um, but something that's been suggested by my brother and pretty much everybody else is that it's best to replace all your tires instead of just one or two if you can. If you have to replace two, then it's best that they become the ones either the two in the front or the two in the back because, um, identical sets. And the ones in the rear in particular because they're the ones that need the most traction. They're the ones that actually push the car forward. Another thing, oil volume. This has happened before to me, fairly recently actually, where I saw the light for oil change. That doesn't necessarily indicate an oil change, and that was the misconception that I had. It's more an issue with the oil itself, it might not be like a certain consistency or there's not enough of it. In that case, there genuinely wasn't enough. So if you have to, then best look at the oil that you're using and just try to find it at a store or at some other shop, which it can be a little hard because it's a certain break of routine, but it's always best to have your oil there because if not, you're going to start hearing the engine. And if you start hearing the engine, then that's a massive risk because apparently the engine can just explode on you if you don't take care of that as fast as possible. Another thing, especially for those with older cars or for those that haven't checked their car batteries, always have a drum starter on you. Um, there's one that I have. Thank you, Dad, for having letting me have it. Where it's like a massive battery. It's like this big, and you can charge it anywhere that has an outlet. We typically charge it here at home. I have mine's at 100, and then you use it whenever there's no other cars and you don't have two-way jumper cables, so that you can jumpstart your car and get back on the road. Because the last thing anybody wants is to get stranded. These things go for like 50 or 70 bucks, I think. But they can go a long way for those that have troubles. And then we got some other stuff like always have 40 bucks on hand for gasoline. At least that's typical for me because of the tank size and also the amount of miles that I drive every week. You know, some of you might know that I'm in college, and the drive there isn't necessarily close. It's about a 40-minute drive, and that includes highways. Like I'm on the highway for 10 minutes. That's 10 miles driven. And, just make sure you always have a set amount ready in your account. Uh, Again, budgeting I can discuss a lot more, but that's just a general gist for that kind of stuff. And this one is a Cinnamine. Just always see if you can clean your car, especially if you have people coming in every once in a while. It's silly, but it's just as important as cleaning your room. But I guess that's what we get for cars not being alive. If they were horses, then it'd be a different story. But yeah, I think that's about it. In terms of that kind of stuff. Of course, it can be pretty expensive to tend to your car. Brake pads. I had to replace them. They cost 430 bucks. which is not exactly something that I was comfortable with at the time, but luckily I had an extra hand in helping with that, and I'm just back on the road. So again, watch your speeds, use your turn signals, and just always be aware of what's around you, especially if you have people inside the car, because the last thing you want to do is hurt people that don't deserve it when you're driving. So, yeah, take care of yourselves, and if you're new to driving, good luck. You're going to need it.